Shining Sarc is back.
First pull.
That destruction.
Let's call Garrett.
What's up, guys? Today we are back with a Shining Sarcophagus deck profile post-Alliance Insight. I recently went to a locals and I actually topped it with this build. So I tied for third out of 17, so not too shabby. I actually had a lot of success with this deck. There's a couple things I am going to change going forward, but it was honestly really fun, and it's cool to see how important Dark Magician Guild Magician's Apprentice, the new card, helped out the deck. So let's hop into this deck profile and keep an eye out because the duel video will be later this week. So starting out, we have 3 copies of Dark Magician Guild Magician's Apprentice. This new card is a key starter because it searches you that Shining Sarc to be able to get your combo started. So honestly is that one card combo. And this deck definitely is more of a control OTK deck, which sounds kind of funny. But you're not creating this giant board worth of negates. Like when you have a really good board, maybe you have like 4 negates, maybe a hand trap as well, but it really is more of like controlling the game until you get to that point where you can bring out Gandora. So we have 3 Dark Magician Girls. We have 3 more starters in Gadget Trio. Your normal summon to then search. That's kind of what this deck has always suffered from, is those normal summons. Just because sometimes it's been like normal summon, negate, pass. But there's ways we can circumvent that, and I'll get into that later in the deck profile. Then we have 2 copies of Silent Magician 0 and 1 Silent Swordsman 0. You only need 1 of Swordsman, just because it's good targeting protection, but 0 is just, Magician 0 is just so good with that spell negate, and the draw to increase its level, just because especially in a meta where like Charmies are prevalent, especially like during draw phases, like it really helps out in a lot of key starters such as Malice and Underground, Mitsurugi Ritual, Rise across all those things. It can negate those, and so it's really good card to get really good negate in the current state of the game. Only 1 Dark Magician. This card, honestly, we are running Dragoon in this and the fusion spell Secrets of Dark Magic, but honestly with the new build I have in mind, I am going to cut Dragoon, but we're going to focus on this build. We did see Dragoon come out in the duel, so. And then 2 copies of Gandora G. Want to make sure we always have 1 we can bring online to kind of nuke that board, because that is our win condition, is to control until we can get to Gandora, nuke the board, and then deal that final blow. Then of course, we have 3 Shining Sarcophagus. This card is super important, obviously, to the deck, the core part of it, to be able to search every single turn, and then it can't be destroyed by monster effects, which is really good in the current state of the game, because so many monsters have those effects to pop, and the only way people are going to pop it is with Harpy's Feather Duster, by a Banish, by something like that. Like any kind of board that's just tons of monsters negate, it actually does really well into it. And another really cool part of it now with the Dark Magician Girl Magician's Apprentice, if you have Shining Sarc in hand and her, and you summon or get another copy of Shining Sarc, you can use one, then hold the other as a discard for that effect to negate a special summon from grave. Then we have 3 Future Silence, another really important starter. It has a secondary effect to increase the attack during the battle phase, but that's why each of us drawing till we have 6 cards, which can be really dangerous. With hand traps and floodgates and even breakers. So I never really used it for that. I've tried and it never really works out. So definitely more of a searcher than anything else. One of the core negates in this deck is that turn silence, being able to negate any monster effect and then also ending the battle phase, letting you live longer, creating that control aspect. I actually played Tenpai, and so this kind of card comes in really clutch that way, just because it gets to shut down their entire game plan. And then we're running 1 Ties That Bind and Secrets of Dark Magic. This card is really integral. This deck doesn't have extra deck, so you're able to run a lot of free-flowing stuff. The only extra deck card there is Dragoon, and very rarely will you be able to make that turn 1 anyway. And so Ties That Bind is really good because it gets you into all the other things you may need. And then this I've seen, it's up in the air, but Stronghold the Hidden Fortress. When Gadget Trio is destroyed and sent to the grave, you can set this card. Yeah, you can cut it, but it is a very good, just another interruption, another body, especially too if you're controlling that board. You have 3 monsters on the field and 1 Shining Sarc. That's a 5,000 attack monster, really strong. And then it also has that pop during the battle phase. And then we are also running Kashtira in this build. We got 2 Fenrirs. Just because Gandora thrives off cards being banished. So the more we can put in banishment, the stronger it's going to be. and the more we can play with. So having Fenrir in there, because the whole Kashtira package, Unicorn and Rise Heart all thrive with banishing cards, and have those special summons bring out those extra bodies. So you'll definitely see there's games where I did have to bring them out because I didn't draw engine, or it just contributed to my game plan more than anything else. So it's really strong. And then one Kashtira Theosis. I was running Primitive Planet and then Birth, but I found that Theosis worked really well instead, just because I would get this, well, summon Unicorn, get this, summon Fenrir, get out Rise Heart, and continue that line. And it definitely saved on the card count and worked just as well. Then some more non-engine, Pot of Extravagance. We want as many starters as we can get, and also it contributes to Gandora, like I said, and so we're able to banish those 6 cards of our choice. We have all that room in the extra deck, so we are able to pick those 6, and it's really good. And even if it gets negated, you still have built up those cards, 6 cards in the banishment. That helps out. Then we have our Floodgate that everyone hates, but Dimensional Fissure. Like I said, this deck is a control deck and is all about controlling the board, making sure your opponent can't set up everything they want to, interrupting, and kind of just controlling that game till you get your OTK. Then for our hand traps, we have 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Fualos, and 3 Infinite Impermanence. Only 9 hand traps, just because, like I said, we're working on control, and we're not trying to just have all this space in our deck with hand traps, because we also have that the Floodgate and Dimensional Fissure, and then we have our 3 breakers in Forbidden Droplet. And now, like I said, I liked this deck build and how it played, and I'm really happy with how I did it. Like I said, I do have some edits I'm gonna do, but I really like it because, like I said, tying for 3rd out of 17, and those games were with like Belmonicum, Fiendsmith, Malice, and Tempai, so really good games. Then let's go into our extra deck. So because of Extravagance, having that extra room is always good. To run 3 copies just in case. Dragoon out here, you know, he's our Omni Negate, still a great card to this day. Like I said, I only saw him like once, and so there's really a thought process of how worth it is running it and having all that space taken. So I have a new build I'm gonna try out soon, see how it goes. Then we have 1 Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel came in clutch in so many games, and it's kind of funny because you'll see where there'll be times where I'll have like Chaos Angel on the field, maybe 1 or 2 other cards. Like I said, it is a control deck, and Chaos Angel is the definition of control. And because of Magician's Apprentice, you can turbo out Chaos Angel. You just turbo out Magician's Apprentice, Shining Sarc, and then if for whatever reason they negate it, okay, normal summon Silent Magician 0, Chaos Angel. And so it's really good that way. Then 2 staples, of course, and Typhon and Zeus. Want to be able to have that. This is also very good for this deck because normal summoning, having something there going second, and then Zeus following up after an attack. Then we have 2 Kashtira Shangria Ira. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, staples of Kashtira, really good. And then this engine is the Draglubion engine. There's Draglubion, Hope Harbinger, and Neo Galaxy Eyes Tachyon. When you activate Gandora's effect, you get to summon a level 4 from the deck, and if you banish 4, then it is leveled 4, and you have 2 level 8s, make Draglubion, and then you can special Hope Harbinger with that attached to it, or reverse, depending on the game state. So a nice little complementary engine there that helps make the deck even stronger. Then we have just generic level 7 XCs and Big Eye, nice little complementary to the Kashtira package. Then we have 2 access codes and 1 Haggard Lizardos. This card was used more just to kind of get that draw power, also banish itself, another card in banishment. It's definitely more of a win more card, not really an essential. And then access code is access code, but I really did not see access code at all, or a time where I would want to go there. So definitely one I would consider cutting. And then finally, I'll go over my side deck just because these are staples and good to have, good to consider, but I'll go pretty quick on them. Ally of Justice Cycle Reader. This card came in clutch against Fiendsmith and actually won me the game. Droll and Lockbird, this is a staple that you have to have in your main or extra right now. Main or side just because it's so strong. Meows, because Malice is the top deck right now. Arguably it could be others, but it's the top in my opinion. And then Gordion Slicer, I think this card is absolutely bananas. I think Gordion Slicer is phenomenal. It's just such a good card that you can banish from extra deck, from hand, return those to the hand, and it can't be negated. and so its effect will always go off. Really, the only thing they can do is move their own monsters or cards if they want to, otherwise they're going back to hand. And once again, too, you're banishing cards, you're selecting cards, and so it just builds up Kandora. And then finally, evenly matched, more banishing power, face down as well, so this works well against Malice even, and just really strong card overall. So as you can see, like I said, this deck is all about control. All about control, all about biding your time, all about building up to that big board-wide big nuke and then just attacking for game. And so Shining Sarc is still weak. It's definitely down there, probably like a tier B, C deck. It still needs a little bit more help. But like I said, I have another build coming, but I am really happy with this build. Like I said, getting 3rd out of 17th at a local with this, playing against Tempai, Malice, and even Dalmonica Fiendsmith. So let me know what you think in the comments, what you would change, other things that you've seen that work. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and then tune in for the duels later this week.